Hey, what's up guys, it's DisturbedLegit, and today I'm going to show you guys my AlphaBridge DPS PvP build. This is not the best build for doing damage in a PvP scenario, but it can be pretty powerful if you set it up perfectly. Again, this build isn't the best for doing flat out damage, so you won't be critting people for insane amounts and one-shotting them like you would with like a 5 Sentry Savage build. But one thing this build can do that 5 Sentry or 5 Striker or even 3 Firecrest 2 Blind Savage can't do is that it can get 2 pieces of Final Measure on it so you don't get one-shotted by sticky bombs, which is pretty much a necessity nowadays. So anyways, let's get right into the build. First, let's start off with the weapons. Now before I say anything, if you notice the DPS number changed, I'm not really sure why it's doing that honestly. It just glitches out sometimes, so don't really worry about it. But either way, for my primary, I'm going to be using a G36 at the moment because it's pretty overpowered and there's kind of no reason not to use it right now. But when it gets fixed on Tuesday, at least I think it's going to get fixed this Tuesday, I plan on switching to my PP19. The PP19 is probably the best gun in PvP because it has really high base damage, decently high fire rate, and its magazine size allows you to spray people for days, making it extremely hard for them to escape from you. So the PP19 will definitely be the best gun in PvP after the G36 gets fixed. LMGs are pretty good too, so you could use the L86 or the RPK, but the PP19 is significantly better than both of those guns, so only use LMGs if you have like 2 God Roll LMGs or something like that. Now moving on to a big part of this build is the weapon talents. So currently on my G36 I have Destructive, which sucks because it doesn't actually work in PvP. Responsive also, which is probably the best talent in PvP. Focused, which you will basically never have up in a PvP situation. And then I have Unforgiving, which is really good and actually quite underrated. Deadly, which is a good DPS boost. And Brutal, which is nice to have as well. The very best talent setup, at least in my opinion, for an SMG or an assault rifle would be Brutal, Deadly, Responsive, Unforgiving, and then the 2 other spots can be filler. For the 2 other spots, I would say try to get Fierce or Competent as the 3rd talent because they require electronics, and then for the other spot you can get something like Accurate or Vicious, but most importantly make sure to have Brutal, Deadly, Responsive, and Unforgiving because those talents will boost your DPS by a crapload. Ultimately you just have to get pretty lucky, and I know my G36 isn't perfect, but it still works out pretty nicely considering I have all of the 4 talents that I think are the best activated. So that's pretty much it in terms of the weapon. Now I'm going to quickly look at all my gear. For the chest piece, you want to have armor and exotic damage rolled on it. Sorry, that's the Xbox message in the background. You want to have exotic damage and armor rolled on it because the exotic damage will help you tank sticky bombs even more so that it doesn't put you to half health, it puts you a little bit less than that. And then you need armor to hit the armor cap. For your mask, you want skill power. I wasn't able to get skill power, so I had to reroll from electronics, so mine has crit chance, which isn't terrible, but I definitely prefer skill power. Now for your knee pads, you want crit damage. You could roll for armor, but honestly you really shouldn't need it. I'm already above armor cap without any armor mods on, so you should be able to get crit damage and be perfectly fine. For your backpack, you want to have crit damage. Since you're going to be getting skill power on your mask and on all of your gear mods, you don't really need the skill power on your backpack really, and losing out on that crit damage can be a pretty significant DPS decrease. Now for your gloves, you want crit chance, crit damage, and SMG or assault rifle damage or LMG damage depending upon what gun you're using. And then for the holster, you just want to make sure to roll armor on it so you can hit the cap. As for your mod slots, you want to stack skill power as much as you can, or you can stack armor alternatively if you need it to hit the armor cap. But if you don't need armor and you don't really have any skill power mods, crit chance can be pretty good too. Now moving on to what skills you want to use. You want to be using First Aid with Overdose, pretty much no debating this here because it will save your life over and over again. And then for the other skill, you want to use either Pulse with Tactical Scanner, you can use Shock Turret. I know people say it's cheesy, but it is pretty damn OP. You can use Immunizer Box to save yourself from the Shock Turrets and everything else, or Sticky Bomb with Flashbang. It's really up to you and what you like to personally use, and also what your team is using, but those are all pretty helpful skills in PvP, so just pick which one suits best for you. Now moving on to your talents. For your first one, you want Triage. This will help you and your teammates get your skills back super fast, so if you put a first aid down and then people run through it, it will get your other skill back extremely fast, so I definitely suggest using this. For your next talent, you want Precision, which will increase your crit chance by 13% and your crit damage by 25% when you headshot a hostile, which increases your DPS by a crap ton and would be kind of stupid not to use it. It's a huge DPS boost, so definitely make sure to use that one as well. For the next talent, you want One is None, which gives you bullets right back to your magazine after headshotting someone, which is pretty nice for burst DPS. And then for the last talent, you want Critical Save, which increases your damage resistance after using a medkit at low health, which can save you in a lot of situations and just make you just a bit more tanky when you need it. Also, one thing to note, it does work when you use a first aid at low health as well. It might be bugged or it might be built into it, not sure, but if you use a first aid at low health just like a medkit, it works similarly, so definitely make sure you get this talent. Will help you in a lot of different situations. So that's pretty much it for the build, guys. Now just in case some of you were wondering how to get this set, I'd say the best way to get it is just farm GZ6. They drop a lot from the supply drops and the sealed caches, and I got my full set in just 2 days of spending a few hours farming, so you shouldn't really have much of a problem getting it if RNG is being nice to you. Either way, that's pretty much it for the build. It's not the best in the world, but it can be pretty great if you use it correctly. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like, follow me on Twitter so you can ask me any questions you want, and subscribe for videos similar to this one. I'll see you later, guys.